Leadership comes in all sizes, all shapes, and has many, many styles. Leadership is as individual as there are individuals. One thing that we can say about leadership, the purpose of leadership is critical in our business. And that purpose is not to make more followers. The purpose of leadership is to make more leaders. Now, many styles, many shapes, many sizes of leaders, many countries, many languages. But one thing that leaders have in common, they do hard things. Another thing leaders have in common, they're willing to step out of their comfort zone when necessary. And what do they do when they step out of their comfort zone? They discover they don't fall through a hole in the ground. They grow, they learn, they develop. Now, we've got the treat today to listen to two very powerful, experienced leaders. Our host tonight is Aaron Weber. I've known Aaron Weber for a lot of years. Besides being extremely likable, he's a triple diamond, Unicity International, speaks very well, has a very good articulate use of the English language. You'll enjoy listening to him. You've probably heard him before. He is someone who has always reached out to build other people. He is interested in not making followers, but making more leaders. That is key to our purpose at Unicity to make life better. So be a leader, step out of your comfort zone, do hard things, no matter what shape, style, size you are. Take the reins of your business, make more leaders, and let's build. Let's welcome Mr. Aaron Weber, Triple Diamond.
Well, thank you, Clayton. Thank you for that wonderful introduction. I almost didn't recognize myself, but I did notice talking about shape and size, and I took offense at that maybe. But thank you nevertheless for that introduction. I want to thank Clayton and Micah and Matt for all those behind the scenes on these calls, for setting them up. This is where you need to be on a Thursday evening for maximum value, maximum return. I'm honored to be the host this evening. I'm honored to work, and this language is purposeful, with and for you, as together we build a Unicity business. In hosting this call, I've got some big shoes to fill, mostly from the Guerreras last week. They did a great job. Thank you. And from Kelly Shim the week before, where she visited with us on Cleanse, which I thought was spectacular. So pleased to see Cleanse be covered. It's an oldie but a goodie, and we'll talk a bit more about that later on. I'm going to change it up a bit today. I'm going to focus on maybe a little bit of training, well, certainly a little bit of training, and a little bit of belief building. I think that's a great use of time this Thursday evening. The belief building isn't in me or Unicity, but maybe some belief building in you and some of the habits that you can use to improve your ability and make yourself more productive and more focused. I'm going to give you two items to consider in that belief building in yourself process, and then one item by way of process and training that may be helpful to you in hands-on building your business and doing great things there. But first, I want to introduce the president of Unicity International, Mr. Christopher Kim. I've known Christopher for longer than Clayton's known me. I think it's maybe 15 plus years or so, Christopher. You must be due for parole from being with me from all those years. In fact, I think, if I remember correctly, I was in the interview when Christopher was interviewed to come join Unicity and was part of that process to bring him here. And I'm glad I was, and I'm glad he did. I love Christopher. I think he's great. I love his work ethic. I love his energy levels. And I just love what he does. He's a pleasure to work with as a inside the building, if you will, business partner. So without further ado, and without making too much of a big deal of it, I want to introduce you to Mr. Christopher Kim.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for this opportunity to be with you today. I am very, very excited. You know how much I'm excited right now. So our great host, Mr. Aaron Weber, he's right. He actually interviewed me to join Unicity now more than 16 years ago, a little over 16 years ago. Back then, Aaron had a little more hair, but then right now, for sure. Yeah, what a great 16 years we spent the time together. And thank you so much for each of you for your time to join this now more than ever call that we do, a weekly call. I know I'm not coming in, I don't listen every single week, but I coming in now and then and listen what you're saying and what our leaders are saying it. Boy, this is a great opportunity for me to learn and to be motivated and to build their belief in Unicity and our philosophy of making life better. Thank you so much for Mr. Creighton Barton and his team for their efforts to setting this meeting with you every week. Now, and also I noticed it, we have quite a few, our family, the member of our Unicity family is joining from the outside of the United States. Now, wherever you are, welcome to this call too. Before even I started, I'd like to express my deep gratitude to each of you. Yes, we don't want to talk about COVID-19 pandemic, which is it creates some kind of a confusion and dark and pain and difficult. And yes, some of us going through some difficult times and challenges. Matter of fact, as a president of Unicity International, I have opportunity to meet with most of our distributors. I cannot meet with them face to face that I used to do by traveling and physically and off the line, but I still meet with them online. Fortunately, and we're blessed that we did not have anyone or any of their family members, directly or indirectly, involved with the COVID-19 pandemic issue. Yes, we have a few of our members of our families. I mean, they were affected by the coronavirus, but other than that, they're all healthy and well-being. And what a great blessing we have in this point right now. Now, that doesn't mean that I know every of you right now. If any of you here today, or you know that your family members or some of your partners and your team members and their families have suffering this current worldwide pandemic issue, in our hearts goes with them, and they're in our prayers. Now, as I'm saying that, another great blessing that I'm so pleased to announce to you, Unicity International is very strong during this time. Matter of fact, we are growing even these difficult times that everybody throughout the whole world outside of Unicity is worrying and they're confusing about. Now, when I just finished several calls last night with throughout the whole world, the leaders and their training meetings, and thousands of people coming into our online training meeting like this and show me how exciting they are. Now, as you know, US market also growing, and which is great. And thank you so much for your great effort and your belief in the company, Unicity, and our philosophy. Thank you so much, your belief in your leaders and the systems and their great wisdoms and experiences they share with us. Even though today, we have all of you as leaders of the Unicity, that you're here to teaching us right now. And also, more important thing is, thank you so much for each of you, for your beliefs in yourself. Even though times like this, you never backed off. Matter of fact, you never give up. And thank you so much. Matter of fact, as I'm looking through all the global markets right now in Unicity, yes, several markets are growing, and some markets are still trying to growing right now. But as a whole, Unicity, very strong. I am very pleased to announce to you, Unicity as a whole, we are very stable and very strong. I know several weeks ago, our CEO, Chief Executive, Chief of Operation Officer, right? I'm sorry, COO, Mr. Dan Hughes came into this call as I'm right now, and he shared with you how strong Unicity is financially and operation-wise and everything. And we are so blessed with your efforts in the past, all your leaderships in the past, all the success you had in the past. It actually cumulative right now, times like this, we are so happy and excited that we're strong, we're stable, and we can be with you and we can work through even though challenges we're facing it. And also more challenges to come in the future. Now, as I look at the leaders like you, they are all excited. They're all excited about, even though most of the people outside of Unicity, they're suffering, and most important thing, they're not sure about their future, which is a very sad thing. But we're excited because of the fact that we are the leaders. Now, this reminds me of a quote that one of a person that I do really respect. And he was a politician, and he was in the time like we were, different challenges. He was during the World War II. You probably know him very well from the UK. His name is Winston Churchill. And he was in the darkest time, and everybody were afraid and feared and scared about this war. And he stood up and he told the people and his people, a pessimist sees the difficulty in every opportunity. An optimistic sees the opportunity in every difficulty. Now, when I see our leaders throughout the whole world, including each of you, the way that you're doing right now, you are that people. You are the people that Churchill was talking about. Even though these difficulties, not only current difficulties, but in the past, we also had our challenges. In the future, we were facing more and other challenges. But because you're optimist, because you're positive, because you have a hope, because you are leaders, we find opportunity in every single challenges, in every single difficulty. And this is why you are right now building your dream. You are making your life better by helping others' life better. This is why Unicity, as a global market, global company, we're still growing and very fast and very strong. And this is, a matter of fact, incredible to watching how good and strong our leaders throughout the whole world in Unicity, like you. Again, thousands of words cannot express me, myself, and all our teams in Unicity inside. We thank each of you. And we have a great opportunity ahead of us right now. Not because of the COVID-19 pandemic issue, but because of the fact that whenever we have situations like this, people looking for good message, people looking for message of hope, people looking for message of happiness. They are looking for solution of the way that can solve their challenges and problems. This was in the past, this is right now, and this will be in the future. And you and I, we have that solution. You and I, we have that message. You and I, we can help people, and not just a temporary or financially they can have a freedom, but they can have a total happiness in their life. So their life truly will be better, even though times of the difficulty and challenges. Again, thank you, thank you, thank you for your loyalty, your beliefs in Unicity, in your leaders, and again, in yourself. We will be with you. We can overcome these challenges like we did many times in the past. And we will today, and we will tomorrow with you, and we will stand next to you. And thank you again for your time. And in the last, if any of you here new to, or this is the very first time you join our online meeting, welcome you with our big heart. And also, even though current difficult time is settling down, it will go away in due time. But be careful, each of you and your family will be well and get be better. And again, until we meet again, thank you very much.
Thank you, Christopher. And as I said, great guy. I enjoy working with him. He's a great partner to have as we build our business, and quality individual. Thank you. Christopher alluded to some of the results that we've achieved over the last quarter or two, and I have access to similar data sets to Christopher. The fourth quarter after the summit was strong, was exceptionally strong, actually. First quarter, the growth continued after that, notwithstanding plagues and pestilence and lack of toilet paper and other challenges that came along. And then this early second quarter has continued similarly. So we are growing. We are growing notwithstanding circumstances and challenges thrust upon us. In fact, I made a phone call to some of my old contacts at the Direct Selling Association just this afternoon to gauge what's going on industry-wide. And the distinct feeling I got from them from an industry perspective is that we are certainly growing at a rate that is in the top half, comfortably in the top half of the growth rates of our competitor companies, if you will, in the space. And frankly, well-deserved by us. Well done. Thank you to you for your application and attention and good work. Now, 3 things, if I may. First is a bit of advice. And I put this under the category of a blinding glimpse of the obvious, or a BGO. And that is simply this: to do the right thing. Now, what does that mean? Well, sometimes you've got to decide between this or that, good, better, best, whatever the right thing may be for you in your current circumstances. I'll give you some examples of what, for me, I think are the right things, and how they can maybe apply to you, or you can extrapolate from them in your own circumstances. For example, do you answer your emails? Now, I'm not suggesting you answer the spam ones, but when someone sends you an email with a request or a question, do you answer it? Do you answer it promptly? Do you respond to calls or text messages? Are you respecting the communication that needs to occur in a relationship-based business? Or are you just a tad too dismissive of that in your day-to-day activities? The right thing is be responsive and communicate and answer. When someone asks, you answer. Number 2, for customers, are you doing the right thing for your customers? Now, for me, and I may get myself in trouble here, all my customers, I sign them up and have them buy at wholesale. Because for me, my current circumstances, that's the right thing. Because, note the language here, when the product works for them and does what I say it will do, they're going to want to move to the next step, and they're going to get visibility as to the prices I could have charged them. And they're going to see I gave them the best possible deal. Now, could I have made 10, 20, 30, whatever dollars on that transaction? Yes, I could have, but I'm playing the long game because I'm building a worldwide, world-class distribution channel that consumes and shares and moves great product to make life better. Are you doing the right thing for your prospects? Are you introducing them properly? And we'll speak more to that later. Are you being consistent in your invitations? Are you saying, here's who we are, and that's consistent with who we are? Are you sending materials that support that and not sort of like many of our unfortunate competitors do, sort of bait and switch? Are you consistent? And we'll speak more to that later on. Are you doing the right thing for your new enrollee? Where do you put them? Now, certainly 5 wide to build stability indicates you should put them on your front line until you're 5 wide plus, or certainly your first or second level, so you can maximize team and business development. But are you putting them where is the right place for them? Sometimes there's a conflict. Sometimes you want to make that 5th or 6th or 7th frontline individual. Great. But sometimes it's just better to put them under that other frontline person for whom they have something in common, geography or background or understanding or tangential relationship. And do you hand them off properly so they feel well served, so they're still connected to you, but now connected as well to someone else, and not just hand them off as a chattel, as it were? Are you doing the right thing there? As an upline, are you servicing your people well? I remember Stuart Hughes said once, one of the primary assets we have as associates or distributors is our line of sponsorship, our genealogy. Are you respecting that? Are you respecting the protocol around that? Imagine if you could, and thank goodness you can't, all of us can't, manipulate and play and fiddle with your genealogy. What would that do for the respect your people have for you? It wouldn't be right. It wouldn't be good. It isn't the right thing. So just as well, we have that ability turned off. Do you do the right thing for your people? And just in general, do you do the right thing? And do you take a moment to think through what that right thing is for you, for the other person in current circumstances? And that may morph over time. Doing the right thing always pays off. It's about playing the long game. Yes, you may give up, as I indicated, a few shekels here or there along the way, but you're building a reputation, you're building a brand, you're building a business that is genuine, authentic, predictable, sustainable, and therefore compelling. And it is that because you're that, because you focus on doing the right thing. Number two, if I may, are you consistent? Number one, do your people find a consistent version of you? We've all worked with people or had that boss where you're never quite sure what version of them you're going to find. Are you that steady, big cog upon which other cogs can interact and take their lead and energy and direction from? There's a quote attributed to, I believe, David Thoreau, which said, "That which we persist in doing, we get better at. Not that the nature of the thing has changed, but that our ability to do so has increased." When you're consistent, you get better. When you're consistent over time, you get increasingly and exponentially better. One of the best examples of that I can give in terms of the value of consistency and therefore the consequential compounding is the legend of the gentleman that invented the game of chess. He was tasked to do so by the king, went away and developed the strategy game, chess, with the pieces and players as we know they work. And the king was pleased with it and said, "This is great. Well, how can I pay you?" And the man said, "Well, just give me a grain of rice that doubles for every square on the chessboard." The king thought, "That's a great deal. 1 grain of rice, 2 grains of rice, 4 grains of rice, 8 grains of rice. This is a piece of cake. I'm getting a bargain." First few rows, he hasn't even filled a cup of rice. Challenge is with that consistency, and yes, it's exponential compounding, but that compounding, by the time he got to those last few squares on the chessboard, there wasn't enough rice on the planet to provide the benefit to that gentleman that invented the game. Now, it's a myth and legend. I don't know of its accuracy, but certainly it demonstrates the power of consistency over time to allow compounding to go to work for you. And I'll give another example of that in a little bit. Now, I want to move from conceptual and some things for you to ponder and maybe double down on and pay more attention to now a little bit of training. I did a little vignette recently, which I think Micah put on the Facebook page about my process, my recruiting process or my invitational process. Had a lot of requests for more detail there. And so I thought, well, what a great opportunity now that Clayton gave me the mic to take you through that process just a little bit more detail. I'm mindful of doing this because I'm teaching you method. And I don't want to teach anything that's contradictory to what your upline may have taught, or it's contradictory to what you're doing that works. So I'm offering this as something to consider. If what you're doing isn't working as well as you'd like, then maybe you want to incorporate some of these elements. Or maybe you're looking for a little bit more direction, and I'm happy to provide that. But in every case, I would defer you back to your appropriate upline if they have advice for you. Just a little bit of data on me, if I can, just to present to you a little bit of an insight that maybe I might know what I'm talking about. As of this morning, I have 640 people on my front line. That means I've sponsored them, put them there, and they're in various stages of productivity or activity. So I've sponsored a lot of people. That's just my front line. That doesn't include those that I've enrolled and placed. And in the last year or 2 or 3 more particularly, if I sponsor someone, I don't sponsor them and I don't enroll them. I basically pretty much close the deal and then work with someone that I'm working with to hand them off to them appropriately so they get the benefit. Again, it's the right thing. Do I appreciate $300 if they sign up as a manager? You bet I do. Does the person I'm working with, my front line or 2 levels down, appreciate that more? You bet they do. In my position, in my category, in my way of thinking for now, giving up that short-term gain to build my organization for the long term is the right thing. It all starts with 2 things. Number 1 is product. All my invitations are product driven. And to keep it simple, because I am a simple soul, I stay focused on 3 products. Cleanse. Again, thank you, Kelly, for that great product. Cleanse is marvelous. If I had my way, everyone would start with Cleanse because besides all of its obvious effects, one of the great side effects of it is it makes every other product work better. Balance is my other one I talk about, and Activate, the program. Those are my ongoing conversations, one of those 3. Every invitation I extend usually has a link to a video about one of those products. So it's product led. Then it's tool, particularly video driven, and comes from two lists. One list you're familiar with. It's the Who Knows Me list. That's a slight twist on the Who Do I Know list. And I won't get into the detail as to why that is, but it changes your perspective and allows you to build the list more meaningfully. And on that list is a column where I answer the question, what do I have at Unicity that is of value to John? And that answers my second list, which is what I call my issues list. What are the issues in the marketplace for which I and we have the solution? I marry those issues to the people and then extend my invitation in that context. So it's, hey, John, it's Aaron here. I've been thinking about you when you said you really didn't have the energy after work to do what you wanted to do, to play with the kids. I think I've got a solution for you. That's the general phraseology. And I do it by email. But what I do is I send a voicemail, and voicemail works great. If I speak to them live, that's fine too, but I keep it short. And it's, hey, John, Aaron here. I've been thinking about you. I think I've got a solution for you always being tired like you spoke about last time. I'm going to send you a couple of video links by email. I want you looking out for it. That way, they're looking out for the email. That way, that when they get it, they're more likely to open it. And then I follow up one and follow up twice. What I send with that first email is the product link and also an introduction to us at Unicity link. I have one that I like to use. You may find one that you want to use. I'll make the ones that I use available online if you want to go and find them. They're ones that represent me well, that represent us well. I'm comfortable with them and what they say, what they don't say, and how they position it. You should be familiar enough with the tools to be able to select your own video that does that same thing if you choose this methodology. And then my first follow-ups within 24, 36 hours. My second, where I answer questions and resolve concerns. My second, and I usually send another video about us then as part of the follow-up. Then my second follow-up is 48 to 72 hours later, programmed. Every day I'm extending 2 invitations. I'm doing 2 of my first follow-ups and 2 of my second follow-ups. That's my rhythm. That's my pattern. And if per chance at the end of that, they say no, it's always no, but gee, thanks for thinking of me. And then I say, well, you're welcome. Do you mind if I put you on my Tickle List? And inevitably they say, well, what's that? And I describe that as, that's my list of folks that I've contacted and reached out to that have said, now's not the right time. And just from time to time, I give them an update of what's going on and how life's being made better for me, etc. I'll send you an email once every couple of months. I have not yet had anybody say no to being put on that list. And more specifically, I am now sponsoring and giving them to other people, more people from my Tickle List than I am from my original Who Knows Me list. So I'm compounding my efforts because I don't know whether my invitation today is received at a good time or a bad time, or their dog just died or whatever else. I don't know if I was doing a good job or not, or use the right language. So I reserve it for later and just maintain some contact. Again, I'll put these videos online for you. Feel free to find them. Feel free to use your own. But the initial invitation is teed up with a quick phone call or a voicemail, followed up by the email with a link to the product specifically and a link to who we are at Unicity introducing us. And then, of course, the usual process that goes from there that I'm happy to work with you all on at any stage, as I do with those folks I work with directly. It's a process. It's a rhythm. It's something that I've refined over the years. It's something the people I work with have used to great success. I have access to literally millions of data sets to know what works. I know what's working, I know what's not, and I take that and I refine that into a process for me and the people I work with to make it most productive. So I offer that as some food for thought for you to systematize and processize your invitation process so that you can persist in doing it and therefore get better at it over time. Now, I think I'm supposed to do a couple of things before we conclude. Next week, the host for the call will be the wonderful, and I just love this woman, Kathy Droz. She is just an absolute sweetheart. You'll be well served by listening to Kathy, by having her host that call and her bringing her wonderful DNA to bear, and certainly an upgrade from your host this week. The other thing by way of special is this, and I'll just look down here to make sure I get it right. For everybody that buys a Unicity fuel and a balanced cholesterol, you'll get a free enrollment. Now, if that's a new person coming in and buying those 2 products, they'll get the free enrollment. But if you're already in and you're buying it, you get the free enrollment that you can then gift to your next new prospect or to someone on your downline, do the right thing. There it is again, so that they can use that. And in exchange of text with Clayton this afternoon, I confirmed that that can be done in multiples. So if you buy 4 Unicity fuels and 4 balanced cholesterols, you can get 4, shall we say, access points or coupons for a free sign up that you can use, that you can give to new people, that you can give to your other people who are bringing people in. As usual, you'll get a follow-up email with those details if I've poorly explained it. But again, the focus is, folks, do the right thing and then be consistent in what you're doing. And then number 3, processize how you're doing it so you can measure yourself, so you can improve yourself over time. Use the tools, have them do the work for you. Introduce leverage at the earliest possible stage. I love the fact that people are watching videos while I'm sleeping. I'm doing work while I'm sleeping, and then I get up in the morning and have some positive response or some productive work to do. With that, I'll leave you to it. Go do great work. Be happy. Do good things. Continue this great growth we're on. And as always, I am personally honored to work with and for you and happy to do so. Just feel free to reach out where you need to. Have a great day. Have a great evening. Thanks a lot for being here. Thursday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, is you need to be here and get the value. This is the absolute best place for you to be for this half hour every Thursday evening. Have a great day. Goodbye.